Hey, MFFLs, back with another video. We'll jump into the latest Mavericks free agency news and rumors in a moment. And when there are Mavericks free agency news and rumors, we're giving you a video here on this channel when moves are made, when big rumors are out there. We have you covered. So go ahead and subscribe. It's youtube.com/MavsTV. Hit that big red button, and let's go ahead and jump on in. You're watching Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. Let's get into the latest Dallas Mavericks rumors here on the show. We're kind of toward the latter half of day 2 of NBA free agency, and some more moves have been made across the association. You know who still is available? Collin Sexton, one of the best free agents still on the open market. There's been some loose reports that Dallas could be interested in signing him. Now, I haven't seen, the Wojs, the Mark Steins, the Tim MacMahons report that, but there's been some second-tier reporters, some kind of, I call them internet rumors reporter guys that have thrown this out there. I'm not sure if or at least how much the Mavericks are interested, but he's one of the top remaining free agents. The Mavericks lost Jalen Brunson. Now, you say all this, Sexton is restricted, meaning Cleveland can match any offer sheet that comes across. But let me be clear, Colin Sexton would be an awesome get. I think in terms of recovering from losing Jalen Brunson, you couldn't do much better. This time last year, if you polled the NBA, I think 30 out of 30 general managers would have said Colin Sexton's a better player than Jalen Brunson, and maybe that's still the case, but coming off a year where he missed most of the year due to injury and Brunson breaking out, maybe it's flipped in the past 12 months, but you're talking about a career 20-point scorer who's still, 24, 23 years old? A very young player is Colin Sexton. When he's right, he can pour in about 20 points and shoot an efficient 38% from three, mid-40s from the field. He can dish a little bit, create, a little undersized, but so was Brunson, and for his size, he is a decent defender. I like Colin Sexton. I think if you could find a way to get him into this rotation and probably into this starting lineup, I'd be pretty happy with that at the end of the day. Do you want to sign Colin Sexton? Type S for sign, type P for pass. Let us know down in the comment section of this video. If I haven't been clear, I would love to get Colin Sexton in Dallas. I think, and I've said this a couple times on some other videos, Sexton is pretty much the ideal Brunson replacement, just in terms of a somewhat gettable guy that plays a very similar role and should play at a very similar capacity in terms of production, right? 18 to 20 points is probably what you would get. Brunson was giving you, 16 in the regular season, 21 in the playoffs. I think Sexton would fall somewhere in between that. And if you got him into your starting lineup, in that 16 points per game, by the way, from last year, small sample size, again, he was mostly hurt. Doncic and Sexton in the backcourt, Dorian Finney-Smith at the 3, and then Christian Wood, JaVale McGee playing in the front court. We'll talk about that in a minute because a lot of you guys were like, wait, McGee and Wood are going to start? Yeah, that could be the case, but even if they do both start and you're not a huge fan of that, either way, the depth is great. You got Spencer Dinwiddie, Tim Hardaway Jr., Reggie Bullock, Kleba, Green all coming off the bench. You would go 10 deep with that lineup, and that doesn't even include a guy like Frank Ntilikina as well, who can give you some minutes. So Sexton would be a really good get. I think the additions of Christian Wood, JaVale McGee, and Colin Sexton would easily outweigh losing Jalen Brunson. That's a better team on paper than last year. I think you could argue even currently the Mavs haven't gotten tremendously worse. Sure, you lost Brunson. That's a big loss. But you've added Christian Wood and JaVale McGee, who are clear upgrades in your front court. So, is that a net kind of a wash? I would kind of say so. I can't sit here and say the Mavs have improved heavily because out of those 3 players, Brunson's the best. But Wood's a good player. McGee's a good player. If you could somehow get Colin Sexton, I think that would be absolutely tremendous for this Mavericks team. Are the Mavericks currently better or worse than last year? Currently, not with Colin Sexton, right now with what they currently have. Type B for better, type W for worse. S for same, if you want to type S for same. I think that's certainly fair to say. I think they're probably similar overall, albeit their roster is constructed a little differently with more emphasis on the front court this offseason. B for better, W for worse, or you can type S for same. Now, Tim MacMahon, who's tapped into the Mavericks, tweeted this out a little bit ago. I'm told that Christian Wood is, quote, wide open to the idea of starting at power forward next to JaVale McGee in the Mavericks frontcourt, because last night there was chatter that JaVale McGee expects to start at center, that he thinks he's going to start at the 5 for this team. Obviously, if that ends up being the case, the Mavs are employing a bigger lineup. I do think Dallas is going to be a team that doesn't have the same starting 5 every night. I think depending on who they're playing, they could play Christian Wood and JaVale McGee at the 4 and the 5, which is what I think this starting 5 would look like if that ended up being the case. I think it would be Doncic and Hardaway in your backcourt, Finney-Smith at the 3, where he's played mostly stretch 4 the past couple years, and then Wood and McGee at the 5. I think some teams, or against some teams, Wood would start at center, and you'd kind of play that 5-out lineup where either Dinwiddie or Bullock or another 3-and-D type of player, if they added one, could start in there as well. Let me make this clear, too, because a lot of people are freaking out. JaVale McGee's going to start. What the hell? Well, Dwight Powell started. He didn't play big minutes. JaVale McGee starting does not equal him playing big minutes for the Dallas Mavericks. He played about 16 minutes per game last year for the Phoenix Suns as their backup center. Maybe that jumps up 3 to 5 minutes if he ends up starting for Dallas. But I expect him to play similar minutes and give you similar production to a year ago. I think he'll be very efficient. I think he'll average 8 to 11 points a game, give you, 7 or 8 rebounds. Maybe those numbers dip up a bit if he does start. I think he's still going to be in that 15 to 20 minutes per game, though. Maybe it's closer to 20 if he's a starter. But even in the regular season when Dwight Powell would start, it's not like he was playing 31 minutes a game. I mean, he'd be in the low 20s typically. I think McGee will be in the high teens, low 20s, give you good energetic minutes. And I don't mind if he starts games because it gives you a defensive edge. It keeps that lob play early on, which was a big success with Luka and Powell early on in games. They would usually hit one of those. McGee can hit those as well. Gives you some additional rebounding to start games. Then you get into the flow. I could easily see him. He starts, checks out at the 7-minute mark in the first quarter, and then doesn't come back until the second. I think that's very much in play. I expect Jason Kidd to employ different lineups, and I think we should be excited about that overall. Predict the Mavericks starting lineup for next season. I just showed you the potential starting 5, but they're going to have different guys that you can mix and match with, and depending on matchups, depending on availability, as injuries will of course pop up from time to time as well. But opening lineup starting 5, let me know. And hey, if you want to overachieve, maybe you predict that a guy like Colin Sexton gets signed. He can be in that starting 5 as well. All right, that's going to do it for our second free agency kind of rumors news update video here for the Mavs today. We'll be back tomorrow with at least one more video. Of course, if there's any other signings that come through tonight that are notable, we'll have you covered there as well. YouTube.com/MavsTV. I'm Harrison Graham signing off. More to come during NBA free agency.